I have one question on that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, standard mention what to do, develop the strategy. Now again, it will not tell us how to do, but I could think two options. To develop the strategy for all the V model at one document where you specify for system software,
Mm-hmm.
or at the individual level.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you normally do for the unit the verification strategy, there itself you have a section for the strategy for cybersecurity part as well. What would be the better way in your
Mm-hmm.
opinion?
Okay, understood. So if I summarize your question, this kind of a strategies we also do even if my product is not security critical, because
Mm-hmm.
this is very common base practice in the ASPICE. Now, since I also have, let's imagine my product is also security relevant, do I need to create two strategy document in each of the levels, or can I have one, an optimized approach, which also talks about security critical part and how to verify it? In my opinion, both the approaches work, because sometimes in some organization it is it is mainly based on how the organization is structured, because they have a separate team which looks after the typical developmental activities, and they have a separate team which only concentrate on the security related activities, because again it is also recommended that you shouldn't mix up your security activities with the non-security critical activities. You have to do it together, but you shouldn't mix up and end up missing something which is too dangerous. You can't miss anything, right? So in such cases I have seen some examples where all the security documents are separate: strategy, specification, concept, they will develop separately, they will keep it apart. Of course they are in line with your other work products, but not in the same document. On the other hand, I have also have seen the let's say pragmatic approach, where for example if I'm writing a system test strategy, as a part of that I can have a separate section which talks about strategy for verifying the system cybersecurity specification. So that said, I don't need to maintain two documents. In a one document I can cover both. It has to be identified, but how, if two people are working on this, how do they manage, which is another it's a different problem, but that can also be done. And in my opinion, I prefer that approach. That said, the reason being, we always tell that security activities should also go hand in hand with the non-security critical developmental activities. So that said, if I'm maintaining a single document, it also makes sense, because sometimes we have also seen that let's say the standard is wrongly understood by the engineers, because let's imagine the standard says cybersecurity specification is a work product 21434. Then normally engineers used to think that since it is mentioned as a work product, this has to be a separate work product, which means it has to be a separate document, which is not the case. That is not the case. Which means if at all 21434 says certain work products, it lists certain work products, it doesn't mean that it has to be an explicitly separate document, like separate Word document or separate document in the Polarin or something like this. It is important that those information should be available, but you can always make them as a part of the existing document. Like if you have a system specification document, as a part of that, you can also write down the system cybersecurity specifications. What you have to be careful about what you have to be careful about is you should be able to uniquely identify them, because if at all you go to a cybersecurity audit, you have 1000 system requirement, in that you have 5 cybersecurity specification. If you don't have a mechanism to clearly identify them, then you have to keep searching which are those 5. So which is not a right approach. Rather, if you have a different let's say attribute for this requirement using which you can filter them out, only 5 of them, or you have a different chapter, you can simply jump to that chapter and show, okay, these are the 5 cybersecurity specification. That makes more sense. So this is where At the end of the day, it doesn't need to be two different documents. It can be one document, but whatever the cybersecurity related informations are there, that has to be uniquely and clearly identified. That is something really, really important. So to answer your question, both the approaches are okay based on how the organization define their process. But if you ask me what I would prefer, I would always prefer an pragmatic approach. Yeah, having a one document which talks about non-security critical requirement and also security critical requirement, having one, let's say, integration strategy or a verification strategy which talks about non-safety critical, security critical, as well as the security critical parts.
Mhm. Thanks for the answer. Then